This is Delhi. Please stand by for our next program. This is All India Radio. In our national program of talks tonight, we bring you a discussion entitled The Miraculous World of Millets. The panelists are Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Head of Science and Heritage Research Initiative, or Shri, of the Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, Chairman of Sustainability Reporting and Standards Board of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and Amit Arora, media personality who moderates and initiates the discussion.
Namaskar and welcome to the program. The United Nations, at the behest of India, declared 2023 as the Year of Millets. What are millets? How do they help the farmer, the consumer, and the environment? Why should it be a part of our diet? Let's discuss tonight in the National Program of Talks. My name is Amit Arora, and to help us understand the miraculous world of millets, here in the New Delhi studios of All India Radio, I'm joined by two distinguished guests. Please welcome Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Head, Science and Heritage Research Initiative, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. A warm welcome.
Namaskar, Amit.
And we also have with us CA Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Singhal, Chairman, Sustainability Reporting and Standards Board with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Welcome.
Thank you, Amit. Pleasure to be at the All India Radio.
Pleasure is entirely ours to discuss a very important topic with the two of you. So let me begin by asking you, Dr. Rashmi, what all food items come within the canvas of millets?
Coming to the canvas of millets, it's very wide because we have more than 300 varieties of millets, but mainly they are broadly categorized into two categories, the naked grains and the husked grains. Under the naked grains, we have three millets, which is the jowar, bajra and ragi. And because they do not have the complex seed coat, which is digestible, so they are adaptable for cultivation by the farmers. So they do not require processing. They can be cleaned and utilized as such. So that is why the farmers have adopted these grains for cultivation, and that is why they are known as major millets also.
Okay, so in terms of these major millets, whether it's ragi, jowar or bajra, Sanjeev ji, we've been hearing about their names and they must have been part of our tradition from thousands of years.
Well, absolutely. These have been, and I've been a student of economics. We have also read extensively about these, and recently the awareness about these has increased. I also recently ate ragi idli.
And is it tasty? Is it nutritive? Ragi idli or bajra and other millets?
Definitely, these are more nutritive as far as nutrition is concerned. If you compare ragi as compared to milk, it has 3 times more calcium and twice protein as compared to milk. So it is definitely more nutritive. And you can see more and more products available in the market right now of ragi also.
So what about the taste of ragi idli that you had?
Oh, it was amazing. And I can tell you in my diet, Navratna Atta is a regular one. So it comprises 9 millets.
Okay. And we also hear about this kuttu ka atta. Is there also millet?
Yes, kuttu is considered as the pseudo millet. Okay. So as I said earlier that there are two kinds of millets, major and minor.
Right.
The minor one are fox millet and poso millet and barnyard millet. And there are two pseudo millets which do not come under the family of Posae, which is the grass family, but they have the similar properties as millets.
But the other millets are like grass only?
Yes, they are grasses.
And let me also ask you if you can help us with some of the local Indian names, especially of the minor millets that you mentioned. Proso millet would be called by what name in India?
China.
China.
Yes.
And would it be found, say, across India or some specific?
No, state to state variation is there.
Okay. And kodo millet?
Kodo millet is called as kodo only.
Barnyard?
Barnyard is jhangura, which is like you can find in Uttarakhand and all. Okay. So it is known as jhangura.
And the other one that you mentioned, foxtail?
Foxtail is kangni.
Kangni.
Yes.
So now, since we are celebrating International Year of Millets, help us understand that if this is a nutri-cereal, which is nutritive as you said, which is tasty as you said, then is it there on our food plate? How can we make people more aware of it?
So it's now, because of the increased awareness, definitely there on our food plate. See, earlier, these were in the diet of a poor man. But now, since the nutritional values have been popularized to an extent, they are forming part of a rich man's diet. See, it's the same millet. See the shift. So certainly it is on our diet.
And India is one of the largest producer of millets.
The global market is about $10 billion. and India has a 41% share in that.
Right. But help us understand some historical perspective, because we do know that in the decade of 60s, India, through Green Revolution, brought in high yielding varieties and technology, right? Particularly focusing on wheat and rice. So then can we say millets took a back seat, and now 2023, as we wish each other Happy New Year, it's time to bring them back?
Yeah, definitely, because during the time of Green Revolution, the food basket was having 20% of the millets. So apart from rice and wheat. And now we have only 6% of millets in our food basket.
Okay.
So that is, we can see the shift from 20 to 6. And the cultivation has also gone down in terms of hectare land which is available for cultivation. But that was the need at that point of time, because the country was struggling with hunger. So at that point of time, the new varieties and technologies were introduced, fertilizers, farming equipments were introduced, and that left these millets as unattended or ignored. So now it is the time, because we know that these are the nutritionally very rich, and it can provide us the food security in the coming times of climate change. So it is time that we should bring them back with bang.
Interesting that you mentioned about these words, climate change. Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, as someone who chairs the Sustainability Board, do you think when we talk about sustainable food security, it's very essential that we endorse millets because they are climate resilient?
Absolutely, and not only climate resilient, they fulfill many of the sustainable development goals. For example, no hunger. They also help address the climate issue. They also help address the health and nutrition issue, because these are so nutrition and these are easily available as far as India is concerned. As far as the climate is concerned, they take less water, and definitely water conservation is the need of the day. So they help address many of the sustainable development goals.
So we talked about how millets can benefit consumer, provide them with nutrition, taste. It benefits farmers too.
Yeah, definitely it benefits farmers too, because they will require less inputs, because they are drought resistant, they are pest resistant. So inputs are less. So definitely they will have more benefit to the farmers. And the government is having the policies which is more lucrative and conducive towards the farmers and the recent times.
And would those also include the small farmers, those who hold less than 2 hectares of land?
For them, definitely, because they don't require much of the input, and new varieties which are high yielding varieties have been introduced into the market. So they can use those varieties for maximum production.
And since we're talking about benefits to farmers, and whenever we have any cereal like wheat or paddy, we do talk about the minimum support price. So do we have MSP for millets as well?
Yes, definitely. We have MSP for millets also.
And that is competitive?
Yeah, it is competitive, and it is lucrative as well.
So as you said, C.A. Sanjeev Singhal, that the global market is very lucrative. What role do you see of startups in the entire supply chain?
There is a big role as far as the startups are concerned, and at each step, the startups are required. For millets, which can help the primary processing, because this will require an investment as well. But this can take the scale of at least 10 times, 20 times in terms of the value realization, the actual realization which happens to the farmers. If we can do the primary processing, if we can do packaging, if we can do marketing, if we can do branding, so there is an opportunity for startup at each stage. And this is going to be a massive opportunity. It's a question of taking a first step.
So given the fact that millets have got so much to offer, do you think how do we transform the good recipe to a marketable brand is the big challenge that we have in front of us?
As far as we did a roundtable discussion with the startups, R&D institutions, and the social organizations recently on December 12th. And there it was discussed that we should definitely record all the recipes available across the country, because there are a large number of recipes available, whether it is the food recipes or it is the Ayurvedic recipes, because it has a role as a healing food. So Ayurvedic recipes are also there.
Yes.
I would also like to add, nowadays when you go to good quality hotels, you will find these new ingredients.
Yes.
So there is a need to make the puff, the cakes, the juices out of that, and make it as a super delicious, super rich value foods.
Okay. And you mentioned there's a The pancake also, millet pancake.
Yeah, I recently had a millet pancake, which was very delicious. And in fact, I topped it up with the cream and strawberries and kiwi for my daughter because she is very fussy about the food. And these days, the kids are very particular about the taste and especially the looks.
And she liked the taste?
And she liked the taste.
She liked the taste.
Yes.
Well, 2023 is the International Year of Millets, but this year is also special, Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, because India has the presidency of G20. And there also in the initial meetings, we have seen that as a gift, millets is being given. What opportunity India has given the G20 presidency as regards millets?
As a gifting item, this is a great value. We have seen during the time of Diwali or during the time of festivals, the corporates also give gifts to their employees. And these are changing over a period of time. At some time there used to be chocolates and now they're shifting to millets as well, saying that it protects your health. So it is definitely a good idea. Someone needs to, maybe a startup needs to properly brand it, properly market it, and sky is the limit for this.
So if you're looking for some gifting ideas, then millets should be a top priority for all our listeners there. Let me understand the role of each of your institutions. Now, Dr. Rashmi, you are the head of Science and Heritage Research Initiative, Shri, under the Department of Science and Technology. Tell us more about this new cell that has been created.
It was during the August 15th speech of Honorable Prime Minister when he has mentioned about the 5 prongs that heritage, we should be proud of our heritage. So at that point of time, our department decided that we should create a new cell which should be working on the heritage of the country and how science and technology can help in conserving, preserving and popularizing that heritage. So we had created that cell, and under this cell, we thought that we should start with millets because this year we are celebrating International Years of Millets. So we decided to give a call on various aspects of millet research and development.
So, say for example, what kind of work is done regarding millets under your department?
We have just given the call, so we will be getting the proposals from the stakeholders because we want to create a millet atlas where we can record all the recipes available across the country, their source material, varieties, everything of the millets should be recorded there. We want to create the facilities, common facilities at the source so that the pre and post processing can be done at the source. And we want to create the facilities, testing facilities for the startups so that they can test their products which they are developing. And there were certain challenges which the startups face. So we are trying to address those gaps like the palatability, the blending, the shelf life and texture. So like that, we had identified certain areas where we should do the R&D, and that also the collaborative R&D with startups and R&D institutions.
Let's understand the role of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and the CAs, because when we talk about millets, the listeners may think, okay, we can understand the role of scientists, environmentalists, agriculturists. What can finance professionals do?
Finance will add value to whatever you are doing. So if today you are realizing an X amount of rupees per kg, say it's for example 25, with the ideas of taking it to the market, doing the primary processing, creating a brand around it, probably you can take it to 100 rupees a kg. So the finance professionals, and now let me tell you, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India listeners is not only restricted to the financial areas, it has ventured into the non-financial areas also, like sustainability. We have also come up with a social stock exchange. So certainly, we can give the wings to your product and help you realize value which is multiple times of what you're realizing today.
So you're saying the correct value of the resource, and that's where the natural resource accounting, because when you said that the environment and water factors have to be brought in, so that will also be reflected.
Absolutely. If you really see, if somebody is making, say, mineral water, they're
Right.
consuming water. So today the water may be costing them X rupees. But what is the opportunity cost of that water? At least 100X. When we talk of a carbon tax, that this is the water which they've extracted from the source. Can you replenish that water? What will be the cost of replenishment? And now here the millets take lesser amount of water. So actually, really speaking, their profitability will be much higher. And those days are not far away when this carbon-based accounting will happen. And right from this year, SEBI has mandated 1,000 top listed companies to report on business responsibility and sustainability reporting. So it is there for real.
Right. So finance professionals could well do carbon-based accounting. Let me ask you this. Millet as a crop, does it have lesser carbon emissions compared to, say, wheat and paddy?
Yeah, definitely. It has 25% less carbon emission than rice. Then wheat, less carbon emission than rice.
So professionals can track this carbon footprint, water footprint.
Absolutely. And to the listeners of All India Radio, I would like to talk about our World Congress of Accountants. You have seen that this was the first ever carbon neutral World Congress. So carbon neutrality is something which is real for making our planet a healthier, happier and safer. And our Honorable Prime Minister has given us a target of 2070 to make it net zero. So certainly carbon neutrality is on the agenda.
Right. So help us understand more about the millet crop. What is the sowing season? When do we harvest? We began the program by wishing our listeners about the festive greetings. When do we harvest millet?
In August and September, generally the harvesting season is there. It has a shorter crop cycle if you compare it with wheat, because wheat has 155 days and millets have 75 days of the crop cycle. So as Sanjeev ji has mentioned that it has more benefits, it consumes 70% less water than rice. So if you see, it is a miraculous, as you have mentioned in the beginning, it's a miraculous crop. So it has nutritional benefits, it has the benefits of less cycle and less water consumption, and everything you name. It has the essential amino acids, which even there are 9 essential amino acids. One of the essential amino acid is not there in the pulses. So that essential amino acid is also there in the millets.
Right.
That is methionine.
So it's non-negotiable. We need to have millets to have a balanced diet.
In fact, people are thinking about blending the pulses with millets so that they can create more and more balanced food and more nutritive food.
So this is where your Department of Science and Technology can help.
Yes.
So if a startup wants to bring an idea, does Department of Science and Technology also fund them?
Under this call, we are not funding the startups directly, but whatever challenges they have, they can go collaborate with the academic institution and then they can come up with the solution, because we can fund directly to the academic institution and the academic institution can work on that particular challenge and they can provide the input to the startup for that purpose.
Amit, the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India gives research grants. So somebody wants to study and do research on the economic value of the millets. Would be happy to consider them for a research grant as well.
Very nice. I think that'll be very nice. But in terms of the research that has been done across the globe, are other countries also investing a lot in millets?
Yeah, definitely. Because now we have created the platform. This is the year which we have created it, because 131 countries are growing this crop and 59 crores of population across the globe in Asia and Africa, they are consuming this as a traditional food. So the scope is very huge. So they are doing work also on these crops. So we definitely see a lot of scope, because now people will know more and more benefits about this crop.
So given the vast scope, is India exporting millets? Is there a huge potential there?
There is definitely a huge potential, although millets are grown in a very large number of countries. As I said, India has a 41% market share.
So just like we had, say, green revolution or white revolution, we could probably have millet revolution, right?
And I was reading the PIB report, it's mentioned that we are exporting only 1% of the millets which are being produced in the country.
So there's
There is
potential.
a huge potential. And we are exporting it to UAE, Saudi Arabia and Nepal. So there is a lot of scope in Japan, Indonesia, UK, Australia, New Zealand. So we have a lot of scope.
Europe does not produce much of millets.
Very less.
Very less. So
Very
that's a
less.
huge market then for India.
Yes, definitely.
Provided we tell them the benefits of it and why it is important to be there on their food plate.
So in terms of benefits, Sanjeev ji, let's recap. So we've got the consumer. From the taste, nutrition perspective, that's the best benefit. Costing, is it cheap, reasonable?
I will say, since the consumption of the water is less,
Okay.
so it should work out to be cheaper. However, more research, more primary research can be done, taking real-time data from the farmers, and we can work out the cost.
In terms of benefit to farmers, less carbon emissions, and if you have multi-cropping, you can diversify your food basket.
It helps in the biodiversity, and it increases the probability of having more crops. As the benefits are concerned, being a finance professional, I can tell you that multiple times value can be derived, what is being derived from today. Provided it is branded well, it is marketed well.
And in terms of benefit to the environment, surely lesser carbon emissions?
Absolutely, and this helps reducing the carbon footprint of country as well.
Right, because Prime Minister did mention that by 2070 we would like to become net zero, which means whatever carbon emissions are being emitted, we like to offset that. And that is what you mentioned about the World Congress of Accountants as well. So in terms of the awareness, while 2023 is now the International Year of Millets, but India did observe 2018 as National Year of Millets. So India's been working on this for quite a few years now.
Yes, definitely. Because at that time when we were having National Year of Millets, we started introducing it in Poshan Abhiyan, and various states have also started the millet mission. Like Odisha had started and Chhattisgarh has started millet mission. So we are working slowly and gradually on this account, and that is why we are now here that when it was proposed in the UN General Assembly, and the 72 countries supported us. So that is how we were able to give International Year of Millets to the world.
Right. And what role do you see of, say, for example, corporates? Like you said, one thing corporates could possibly do, the private sector, that whenever they want to gift, they could gift millet. What else corporate sector could do to popularize the millet revolution?
I also see a possibility for corporate farming. Why not? The corporates can own the farms and do it as a pure business. I'll not be surprised if tomorrow these organizations are listed in the stock exchange and a great value is realized with having a good market cap.
Okay. Or the NGOs who are working in this sector could get listed on the social stock exchange.
If you really see now, many of the food items are made by the company which are listed on the National Stock Exchange and Mumbai Stock Exchange. So why it should not happen with the millets? Certainly a possibility.
But young professionals, when they pass out, say chartered accountancy or an MBA, usually they look at the industry. Do you think time has come that they could look at agriculture as a business, agri-business?
Agri is becoming a business in a slower pace, but definitely it is becoming a business. And because it's high on the agenda of people of our age to be health conscious. And now the youth, maybe 10 years from now, will also realize that whatever they've been eating, the pattern needs to change.
As you said that youngsters are graduating. So I recently met a young woman during my roundtable discussion. She was a food technologist. She is definitely. And she was working under the projects in different R&D institutions where she has learned various techniques. And so she started her own company, which is working on the snacks of millets and energy bars. And that is, I got to taste that energy bar, and it was one of the good bar and in fact the big brands also, I will not name them, but that was the very good energy bar.
Right.
And cost effective also.
So I think for human beings, we're almost clear that it's a very nice food source. Like you said, tasty, nutritive energy bar, or the ragi idli that you mentioned, Sanjeev ji. But what about the millets and their usage as a feed for animals? Do you think for the husk millets, the husk could actually come as a useful fodder? And waste management is also an area that we build in ESG.
Yeah. So as far as the waste management is concerned, definitely this can be put to a lot of use, and maybe we need to explore more and more ways of converting it into energy.
Yes. As a fodder for animals?
Yeah, definitely India was using it as a fodder for animals. So we need to work out on the value chain, like whatever the grains are there, we need to process it and enhance its shelf life for human consumption. We should work out on the health parameters, like what are the health benefits, and work out on the molecules which are good for the human consumption. And then the rest waste should be utilized for the fodder so that we have net zero.
So going forward in this new year 2023, in addition to the major millets like ragi, jowar and bajra and the minor millets that you mentioned, there are some pseudo millets, by the way, as well.
Yes.
Which one?
The buckwheat, which is kutu, and amaranth, which is cholai.
So it's like cholai ka saag and laddu that we talk about.
Yes,
they're millets.
Yes, they're millets.
Maybe we did not know about it.
Yeah, I also didn't know.
But some of these things have been there.
Kuttu ka atta is famous when one is fasting.
Yes. So that's millet. So can we expect that in this new year, we could have some new varieties also of millets?
The varieties, they are already existing and we need to record it, but we have to work upon the protein content of it,
okay,
the millets, because now there is a new concept coming out of smart proteins. The globe is going towards smart protein. And during the discussions which held in December, we also thought of introducing millets as a part of that smart protein concept. So we need to work upon extraction methodologies of proteins from millets and enhance the protein content in millets. So we should work on that, extraction protocols and all. And we should also introduce the new varieties which has higher content of protein, 23% or so, because right now it is around 11 to 13% of protein.
Okay.
In
So you're
millets.
saying in addition to calcium, millets are very rich in proteins.
Yes.
What else?
It is rich in niacin, it is rich in vitamin B. So you name anything, it is rich in phosphorus, potassium. So it is rich in all micronutrients as well.
So do you think in your interaction with students, because you meet a lot of young students at the campus, maybe the organizations in their canteen could introduce a little bit more of millets this year, some more efforts to popularize them?
Absolutely. I think it should be done. And since our Honorable Prime Minister is putting a lot of focus on it, I'm sure it will happen. And the corporates can also do it as their CSR responsibility, because if they do it, the farmers and their families will be benefited and their employees will be benefited too in terms of the health benefits.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, like on the Prime Minister's call, the Parliament has celebrated. They had a meal of millets during the Parliament session.
Yes.
I have planned to introduce millets in our canteen.
Okay.
And definitely, like across the country, there are tribals who are celebrating the festival of harvest for millets.
Yes.
So, like we are celebrating Sankranti, Lodi,
Yes.
Bihu,
Yes.
and Pongal, we should celebrate those festivals also, at the state level at least.
Yes.
So that people of the state should know about the millets.
Yes, absolutely.
And Amit,
Yes.
at the Central Council of the ICI canteen, millets are already a part of the food.
Oh, it's already a part of this. Very nice. I think that's very good. So, New Year, we need some new innovations to ensure that we from our side contribute to Mother Earth, and we could do that by eating millets.
Yes, definitely. So that should be our New Year's resolution.
Yes, New Year resolution. So, like you said, there's so many benefits. So, it's nice to say that truly the world of millets is miraculous.
It is, absolutely.
Your last thoughts for the youth specifically on millets and the way forward?
The word of millet is definitely miraculous because it has lot for the Mother Earth. And the youth can also contribute towards it because the knowledge which you gain by studying in universities or colleges, you can apply that knowledge by converting these miraculous grain into products and take it to the world. So that is how
Sanjeev ji,
we see
I
it.
would say to the listeners of All India Radio that the youth need to take this step forward, and this will benefit them all. This will benefit the society as well.
Yes. And on mygov.in, there are so many activities youth can engage themselves in, whether you could have quiz on millets, you can have poetry, there's a song too.
Yeah, it is on mygov.in. And
Yeah.
in fact, there is a Punjabi folk song, Bajre Ka Sitta.
Yeah.
You must have heard that
Yes,
song also.
Yes.
Yes.
So this harvest season, festive season, sing these songs, but make sure that you include millets in there as well. So it's rich in heritage, it's full of potential. Let's hope that the International Year of Millets 2023 introduces the benefits of these nutri-cereals to the entire world, and it comes on every plate. Dr. Rashmi, Dr. Sanjeev, pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you, Amit.
In the national program of talks tonight, you were listening to the panel discussion entitled The Miraculous World of Millets. The panelists were Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Head of Science and Heritage Research Initiative, or Shri, of the Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, Chairman of Sustainability Reporting and Standards Board of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and Amit Arora, media personality, who initiated and moderated the discussion. Produced and presented by Naveen K. Gupta of All India Radio Delhi, this program came to you from the Delhi station of All India Radio.